Good day everyone! Today, I am here to present the subject, Unit 4, Teaching Painting in Elementary, which we will discuss its art in the Philippines through the years, lessons, elements of painting, principles, process, applicable teaching strategies, and the last is assessment strategies in teaching painting. So, I am Joy Escarpio, your intern teacher for today. So, first slide is the objectives. At the end of the unit, the students are able to create a timeline of the history of painting in the Philippines, places, people, artworks. Second is discuss the fundamental elements, process, and principle of painting. Third, choose appropriate strategies in teaching painting when it comes to its elements, process, and principles. Fourth is choose appropriate assessment and evaluations strategies in teaching painting. So first is lesson 16. Painting is an art which brings expression to the experience of the past, as is a presentation art. It is also a form of visual art that shows the intrinsic values of man through the creative and imaginative use of lines, color, value, shape, medium, and others. Painting is the one of the ancient forms of art, with cave paintings dating back to prehistoric times. Paintings are classified by both the subject matter, style, and genre. Painting subjects usually fall into still life, landscape, seascape, portraiture, or abstract. In the field of art, painting describes both the process of act and the results. A large number of paintings are made with pigment that is generally in liquid form, and it's applied using a brush. The only exception to these are observed in the Tibetan mandala painting and Navajo and sand painting. Painting are a form of visual art that captures the expression of ideas and emotion on a two-dimensional surface. Artists use the elements of shape, colors, line, tones, and textures in unique ways to produce paintings that convey sensation of movement, volume, space, and light traditionally on a flat surface. Brief history of painting. Even before written record was made available, man had already been engaged in painting as expression of his yearning for creativity and communication. This was evident on walls of caves during the Paleolithic period. These paintings are crude pictures of animals and primitive drawings consisting of few stick figures. An example of this is the Angono Rizal petroglyphs. Artistic painting were introduced to Filipinos in the 16th century when the Spaniards arrived in the Philippines during this time. The Spaniards used this painting as visual aid for their religious propaganda to spread Catholicism throughout the Philippines. Art history is the study of objects of art considered within their time period. Art historians analyze visual arts, meaning painting, sculpture, architecture, at the time they were created. In the Philippines, painting is compared to that of its counterpart in the Pacific region. By nature, Philippines are imaginative and creative, but whatever artifacts available were eventually lost to one because of two major factors. The first is that primitive, made to last for a very short lifespan. Ephemeral, made of the medium, used like leaves and bark of trees, which could not withstand the existence of the weather. And the second is that coming of the Spanish colonizers left them with no choice but accept the culture of the Spaniards. there were no incentives for them to go on practicing their craft. Painting in the Philippines mirrored change through colonial periods. They embodied the vanishing period and were reflective of Filipino sentiments. The cliche art for art's sake and art for the message sake were manifested in the artists. Work as expression of their preferences and understanding of life around them. The pieces varied from the beautiful expressions of joy and sadness, pieces and chaos, and the last, landscape and figures. Early Philippines painting were dominated by religious influence as shown in the example of Jesus addressing the women of Jerusalem and painting of the Virgin Mary. It can also be noted that there were far more paintings of the Virgin Mary than of Jesus and the Throne of God. This is so because the Mother of Christ was venerated under different nomenclature, such as Master Dolorosa, the Lady of the Holy Rosary, the Immaculate Conception, and others. In ethnic art, this means native or indigenous Philippines design. This kind of art is influenced by Southeast Asian neighbors. The ethnic art has curved liner and linear patterns or design. The term ethnic art is a catch-all designation which describes the cultural creation of non-Western societies. It relates to objects from national and cultural origins. Example, denoting origin by birth or descent rather than by present nationality. In folk art, the most distinctive characteristic of folk art concern the materials and creative techniques used, thus unlike in more sophisticated art. Folk art tended to make use of natural substances like wood, straw, clay, and so on. Tools tended to be fewer in number of invariably multi-purpose. For folk drawing in painting, folk drawings have been known for thousands of years in the archipelago. The oldest folk drawing is the rock drawing and the engravings, which include the petroglyphs in Angono Rizal, which was created during the Neolithic age of the Philippines, corresponding to 6000 BC to 2000 BC. The drawings have been interpreted as religious in nature, with infant drawings made to relieve the sickness of children. Another known petroglyph is an Alab Bontok, which is dated to be not later than 1500 BC and represents symbols of fertility such as the pudenda. In contrast, ancient folk drawing as petrographs can be founded in specific sites in the country as well. The petrographs of Peñablanca in Cagayan composed charcoal drawings. The petrographs of Signapan in southern Palawan are also drawn with charcoal. The petrographs in Anda, Bohol composed drawings made with red hematite. Recently discovered petrographs in Montreal, Ticao include drawing of monkeys, human faces, worms or snake plants, dragonflies, and birds. Tattooing was introduced by Austronesian ancestors thousands of years ago, where it developed into cultural symbols in a variety of ethnic groups. Although the picture has been in place for thousands of years, its documentation was first put on a paper in the 16th century, where the bravest pintados, people of central and eastern Visayas, were the most tattooed. Presently, only the small village of Tinglayan in Kalinga province has traditional tattoo artists crafting the batok or batok, headed by master tattooist and Kalinga matriarch Wang Od. In the last decade, the many traditional tattoo arts of the Philippines has experienced a revival after centuries of decline. Body folk drawing adornment through sacrification also exists among certain ethnic groups in the Philippines. In folk art is rooted tradition that come from community and culture expressing cultural identity by conveying shared community values and aesthetic. Folk art encompasses a range of utilitarian and decorative media, including cloth, wood, paper, clay, metal, and more.